Good day Reddit lovers. Today's story comes from the best of Redditor updates subreddit by user honest version 8.7.8.5 and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that he deserved to have his girlfriend cheat on him and then get his ass beat by her affair partner?" My friend, Mark, male 18, has recently been having a lot of relationship troubles with his girlfriend, Leah, female 18. They got together back in February of this year when we were still in high school, and their relationship has become a complete train wreck. Mark wasn't still as head over heels for Leah. He has told me and my other friends that she is definitely the one, and that he eventually plans on marrying and settling down. This all seemed both premature and immature to me, but it's beside the point. Leah, on the other hand, is a nightmare. She's cheated on Mark several times now, and every time she does, she gives Mark some lame story about him not being supportive enough, or that she made a mistake, or that she wanted to see him get jealous for her sake. He gobbles it up every time. According to Mark, Leah largely acts like this because her father was very abusive towards her and her mother, and therefore she carries a lot of trauma with her. Mark constantly reiterated that he wants to help her work past that, but things haven't really been going his way. Since September, Leah has been seeing this other guy, Derek, male 22, and she's 100% infatuated with him. I only know this based on what my other friends, and Mark, have been telling me because I was in another state for college. Mark has been arguing a lot with Leah about Derek, and she has threatened to leave Mark if he doesn't just simply accept her for who she is. He did. Not only that, he and Leah have entered what he calls a semi-open relationship. This means, according to Mark, that Leah is allowed to see Derek as much as she wants, but Mark isn't allowed to see anyone else. This is because Leah feared Mark would become emotionally invested in them and leave her. Mark begrudgingly agreed to this and has been seething for months about it. Since about November, Leah has been seeing Derek more than she does Mark. While Mark doesn't admit to it, our other friends have told me that she is essentially in a full-time relationship with Derek and only comes to Mark for money and emotional support. Fast forward to this week, and I'm back home for the break. Mark started texting me on Saturday, saying that he hated Derek for trying to steal his girl, and wanted to beat his ass that night. He said that he wanted me to come along since all of our other friends couldn't. They made up excuses not to go. They have told me this, but Mark doesn't know. Since I just got back home the day before, I was still exhausted, so I point-blank refused Mark's request. I told him that Leah was a lost cause, and I wasn't going to fight some people I'd never seen for her. Mark started begging me, saying that Leah is the love of his life and that he needs my help. I refused again. He then says that he'll go on his own, but I told him that he probably shouldn't. I woke up Sunday morning to more than 300 messages on my phone from Mark and all our friends. Long story short, Mark went over to Derek's place to bring Leah back. He ended up getting his ass kicked by Derek and his friends. They only stopped when Leah asked them to. I called Mark and told him that he should probably talk to a lawyer or something, but he refused since Leah asked him to not escalate the situation. I then told him that he was being dumb, and this triggered him so much. He started saying how I was a bitch and a snake for not backing him up and how I was a fake friend. I was so irritated at this point, so I told Mark that he deserved to get jumped and that it made sense why Leah preferred Derek over him. He hung up on me, and we haven't spoken since. Since then, my other friends have been saying that I'm an asshole for how I handled the conversation, but they do agree Mark is a dumbass. Am I the a-hole? What a clusterfuck. Mark seems to have no sense of self-worth. No self-respecting man would agree to be bullied into being with a girl who sleeps around while he waits around in his chastity belt. This is absolutely insane. I would say you're not the a-hole, but you're a dick for sure. Mark is clearly in the fog, and I don't think judging him or being harsh on him will give the desired results. By all means, I understand why you are frustrated, and I would encourage you to be honest to him as it pertains to what you think and believe about their relationship, but to tell the dude he deserves this, albeit it being true, was a low blow in my opinion. But let's hear one of the top comments. Big Philosopher 2, 7, 3, 5 says not the a-hole. He's delusional. Your other friends should have been honest with him. Maybe if everyone was honest, he'd get it. Good for you for not getting involved in the fight. OP responds and says we've all been trying to get him to leave her, but he keeps on insisting that she is the most spectacular person in the world beneath all of the shit she gets up to. Let's move on to the update. Some of my friends and I ended up going out with Mark to see how he was doing. We didn't want to go to his parents' place since Leah was now living there with him and we didn't want to see her. He does look very beaten up. Black eye, bruises all over his face and arms, busted lip, etc. But he was surprisingly in a good mood and even insisted that I didn't have to apologize for how I spoke last time. He told us that Derek ended up dumping Leah a few days after the fight. Apparently, he asked Leah to dump Mark. She refused, and they argued. I'll spare you most of it. Their conversation ended with Leah being kicked out of his apartment in the middle of the night, and Mark had to come pick her up. He has refused his parents and our request to escalate the situation at Leah's request. Mark has said that Leah has been very depressed about Derek dumping her and spends a lot of the days crying. Mark just says he's incredibly thankful to be there to comfort her and emotionally support her. He keeps on saying that when it comes down to it, Leah chose him over Derek, and nothing can take that away. Like I said above, Leah has decided to return to living with Mark. She can technically go to her mother's house but doesn't want to. Here's the real kicker. Mark says that he has a very good reason to believe Leah might be in the early stages of pregnancy now. My friends and I assumed the child was Derek's, but Mark insisted that regardless, it would be his kid. We asked him to get paternity testing, and he has refused since. He can't do that to Leah. We've told him that the relationship is toxic, but he didn't want to hear it since that was a matter of perspective. Also, his parents have no clue about the potential pregnancy. He says that in the future, he doesn't want us to say anything about Leah unless it is the absolute truth, his speech of singing her praises. My other friends and I all left pretty stunned, and I'm thinking that at this stage, I'll slowly be removing myself from Mark's life. It sucks since I've known him for a long time and do enjoy his company. But I don't think I'll be able to remain friends with him in good faith if I'm not able to speak honestly to him. And for some top comments we have CIMARUTA who says dude is trying to ruin his life as fast as possible. OP says, 100% he is. It's tragic to watch him give up everything for this pointless relationship. And another comment from Lotus Biscoff Baby says forgive me for this, but me personally, I wouldn't even bother with someone like Mark. He's delusional and stupid at this point, and he can't even see how manipulative Leah is being. He's willing to throw his whole life away for a girl who has no respect for him and for a baby that probably isn't even his. OP, it's probably best to just keep your distance or go no contact with Mark, seeing as he's made his choice. OP responds and says yeah, I'll be keeping my distance. It's just so awful that he's throwing his life away for the most useless reason. And last comment from Butter Pie Scottish says in Mark's mother's place, would kick Leah out of my house and tell Mark that the child would not enter my house without a paternity test and I would no longer be supporting him financially. OP responds with, if his parents try anything, he'll go no contact with them. He told us that between his parents, dad and stepmom, and Leah, he's choosing Leah. It really does suck, and I feel like it is extremely unfair to them. Well, damn. While I was sympathetic to Mark, I'm inclined to believe he and Leah deserve each other. I think both Leah and Mark are probably better off together than being allowed to run amok in general society because this can't be it. Obviously Mark has deep self-esteem issues and I encourage OP to distance himself from the couple, but if it were me, I'd absolutely tell the parents the entire story in its entirety even if it means he's going to go no contact or pick Leah. The other shoe will drop eventually and you'd rather be on the right side of history. He will eventually, or at least hopefully, realize that Leah is no good, but I don't think Mark's problem is Leah. It's really himself because he doesn't respect himself. He is complicit in his own mistreatment, and yes, of course Leah will take advantage if there's a meal ticket and a pushover. But unlike Mark, Dudes like Derek will nip that behavior in the bud real quick because they don't have the same issues Mark has. You don't have a Leah problem. You have a Mark problem. Let me know what you guys think. Please like, comment and subscribe. Drop a comment below about what you think about this whole saga. For me it's complete madness, but I'm interested in your thoughts. I'll catch you on the next upload.